We have in today a JVC micro hi-fi system. So this one can play CDs on the top, FM radio, tape and auxiliary in. Similar to the last one we had in, the speakers don't work on this and the CD eject and close doesn't work correctly. Other than that, everything apparently works. So let's first take a look ourselves and confirm the issue. So this is the hi-fi in question. You've got the CD on top, you've got the display here. You can tune into FM radio with this. You have a tape deck here, so you can play your cassettes. And if we take a look at the back, we can see this is where we connect the speakers in. We've got an antenna if we need one, and you can power it from 12 volts similarly, or mains voltage. I'll power this one from our AC bench at 240 volts. And the customer mentioned the headphones work, so I'm just going to use a mini speaker, and let's just start with what should work. And let's just insert a cassette. And then press play, I presume. And there we go, that works. So the headphones work as the customer says. If we remove that, and we connect up a mini speaker here, this is an 8 ohm, so you should be able to hear something. You can see no sound at all. And if we plug the headphones back in, you can hear it still running. So that's the sound issue. We know there's an issue with the back speakers. The CD apparently doesn't eject, which it doesn't. So you can see that looks like it's just a mechanical issue where it's not got enough power to fully open and close. And taking a look at the CD drive, we can see it's a band driven for the open and close. So the obvious first step here is replace this band with a fresh one. And let's just see if that's fixed the open close. And that didn't fix it. But if we look at the side, you can see we've got this sensor here. And the open sensor is fine, it knows when it's open. It's the close sensor here, which that tab pushes in through this hole and connects to this sensor here, which should short when the lid is shut, but you can see it's currently open. And the sensor's permanently shorted, so it just thinks it's always closed. Basically it thinks it's permanently like that, so when you tap the button, that's why it doesn't lift up. Once you've got a certain height and it knows, it then goes. So we've got to fix the sensor on here. So the issue with this switch is, as you can see, if we push it down, it doesn't spring back up, and that's because the spring inside's broken. I've had a go at fixing it, but it can't. So I've just soldered a button on here so we can simulate when the drive is closed. If I hold the button shut now while it's closed, if we press eject it should open. And then I'll let go to simulate that switch being released. And if we tap to close again, I should just press once it's shut and then tap to open once more, let go. So you can see if the switch was working, this drive's fine. So we just need to source and replace this switch for a new one, but we know that's solved now. And that's the exact limit switch we need. It's got the exact same measurements. So I'll grab that from DigiKey. Other than the shipping cost, it's only 35p. So where we're at now, with full strip down and disassembly, we can see the main board here that has the headphones that work and the speakers that don't. You can quite easily see the power drivers here for the speaker. I've desoldered the cage and got the part numbers. And the one of interest is the ALE 4705, and it's an amplifier for the speakers. This is the circuit we're looking for, so pins 17 and 15 for example go to the right speaker. And if we trace these traces around through the jumpers, you can see it goes to pin 17, so it goes up through here, over and over to the red inputs. With that known and reversing everything else, we can see that the inputs should be on pins 2 and 7. We should have power up here. So what I've done is made a bunch of notes of things we now need to check. So these are the expected values on this amplifier that I want to check when it's reassembled. And my suspicion is this will be bad. The main check will be checking the inputs with the speaker to see if the sound is going into this chip. And if it's not coming out to the speaker pins, we know the culprit. This has now already consumed all of the time though that the customer's paid. So I will quickly diagnose if it's this chip. If it is, the customer just needs to pay for the chip and install. And if it's not that chip, the customer will have to pay for further diagnostics. You can appreciate that the teardown and repair so far has already taken several hours. So let's hope when we reassemble this, we can just diagnose these pins and see what the problem is. And with that all reassembled, we can now see we have the amp here. So as we mentioned, pin 2 and pin 7 should have audio. So I've got my classic speaker rig here, soldered to ground. And now we just need to touch on pin 2. And you can see there's audio. So the preamp is receiving the audio signal. Pin 5 is the on signal. So if we probe pin 5, you can see we get the voltage. So it has been told to turn on. And VCC is pin 18, which has 15 volts. So that has everything that it needs to be running. It's just not outputting to the speaker. And let's just double check the output to the speaker. Okay, so now it's working. So now do we have, if we connect a speaker here, audio out. So let's just crack out the larger subwoofer. So looks like I've fixed it by stripping it down and reconnecting things. I haven't even finished reconnecting stuff. I guess that's a win for the customer. So we'll order the switch for the lid so we can fix that. And volume control works. And that's all sorted. Possibly loose connection, possibly cleaning and probing pins. Whatever it is, it's fixed it. So pop quiz at the end. Who sung this song and what year was it released?